Hello. Okay. It's time. It's time to read Game Feel. A Game Designer's Guide to Virtual Sensation. 377 pages. Yeah, I need to read this too. Art of Game Design. I learned about Jesse Shell recently, but we'll get there. Table of Contents. Acknowledgements about the author. Intro. Defining game feel and human perception. The game feel model of interactivity. Oh wow, these are pretty decent chapters. Decent lengths. Mechanics of game feel. Beyond intuition. Metrics for game feel. Input metrics. Response metrics. Context metrics. Polish or polish? How do I spell polish? Oh. Dude, I actually never thought of that. Is it? Wow, you spell them the same way? Damn. Do you? Yeah, wow. Super Mario 64. Metaphor metrics. Rules metrics. Asteroids. Super Mario Bros. Bionicles. Oh. Bionic Commando. Super Mario 64. Raptor Safari. Principles of Game Feel. Games I want to make. The future of Game Feel. I would like to thank the following people. Mom and Dad for their unwavering support of everything I do, ever. It must be exhausting. Special thanks to Dad for taking on the role of second editor, donating hours and hours to proofreading, editing, writing first pass chapter summaries, and helping me wrangle ideas. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being who you are. It gives me a standard to aspire to. Amy Wegner for unflinching honesty in editing and for putting up with me throughout the months of craziness. Guess it's my turn to do the laundry now. Bake cookies, do the dishes, take out the dog. Thank you for everything. Beth Millet for being a kick-ass editor and for being the other person who had put up with my craziness. Could never be me. Matthew Wegner for help with the Raptor Safari, for many inspiring ideas about game feel, and for being the stable foundation of Flashbang. You make everyone around you better, smarter, faster, and happier. We appreciate it even if we don't tell you as much as we should. Mick West for inspiring me to think about game feel at a deeper level. It was his article, Pushing Buttons, for the Game Developer magazine that convinced me this would be a subject worth writing an entire book about, and he has graciously offered me feedback and guidance when I asked for it. He is the true master of game feel. If you're looking for someone to make your game feel better than anyone else can, ask him. I doubt he'll say yes, but there it is. Yeah, who is this guy? It's Mick West. Oh, Neversoft? And he debunks pseudoscientific claims? Amazing. Such as chemtrails and UFOs? Pretty dantacular, huh? Good for him. Research interests. That's actually kind of sick. What the hell? I don't know anything about that, but I remember hearing about chemtrails for a bit. Okay. Alan Blomquist for building pixel-perfect clones of old games and helping me understand how they work. Without Alan, the book would be much shorter. Derek Daniels for the brilliant insights about the role of animation in game feel and the importance of hard metrics for game feel. I hope you write a book someday. Sean White, the snowboarder, for help. Probably not. No, I think this is spelled with a single U, not a W. for helping me with technical light or details about platformer games. You are truly the captain of rats. Sick title. Matt Mexley for additional help with technical stuff and for the fantastic attitude. I hope you someday meet and woo fast woman. It must be plural. Adam Mexley. Whoa, is this a different guy? For proofreading and helping me achieve syntactic perfection? They have like the same last name, but it's spelled differently. What's up with that? For proofreading what? Do they just happen to have similar last names, or did they not proofread that shit? Fuck it. What? Okay. Kyle Gabler for being brilliant and inspiring, and for helping me understand the importance of sound and its role in game feel. I hope I can someday be half as good as a game designer as you are. Ben Ruse for making me laugh and smile always. You provide a constant reminder why we do what we do. John Blow for inspiring everyone to make better games and for teaching me about proxied embodiment. Kelly Santiago and Genova Chen for making beautiful things and for taking the time to talk to me about how. Chaim Gingold for making brilliant things and taking the time to talk to me about how. Catherine Isbister for the encouragement and opportunity to write a book. Steve Swink is an independent game developer, author, and lecturer currently based in Tempe, Arizona. As a game designer and partner at Flashbang Studio, he's contributed to games such as Off-Road Velociraptor Safari, Sploom, Jetpack Brontosaurus, and Minotaur China Shop. Okay, Dino Freak. Dinosaur Freaky over here. It's kind of freaky. Alright. Before joining Flashbang, he toiled in the retail game mines at Neversoft and the now defunct Tremor Entertainment. He also co-chairs the Independent Games Festival. What? He also co-chairs the Independent Games Festival, is an IGDA Phoenix chapter coordinator, and teaches the game and level design classes at the Art Institute of Phoenix. He sometimes forgets the importance of sleeping every night. Not just some, same. Can't blame him. This page is left intentionally blank. Close your eyes for a second. How am I supposed to read this? Close your eyes for a second and imagine yourself playing Super Mario Brothers. Okay, so I'm in the first level. What is it? Like an olive green, like a orange yellow, and like a red, Mario red, and then sky, or like a regular blue, not sky blue. Okay, Goombas, bricks, Koopa. I'm playing Super Mario Brothers. Okay, so well, I originally imagined it in like a Nintendo, like an NES controller. So I got the D inputs and the 2 buttons. What did you imagine? The visuals, the colors, the iconic sounds of Koi Collection? That's actually, or Koi Collection? Collecting? I actually didn't imagine any sounds. That's kind of silly, because I'm a musician. I didn't even think about the Mario theme music. How about the sensation of moving Mario left and right, of jumping, colliding with blocks? I just thought about assets, I guess. I didn't think about actions or verbs. Stomping Goombas? What does it feel like to control Mario? Go watch some unfamiliar... Go watch someone unfamiliar with games. Your mom, perhaps. Try to play a game like Rad Racer. If it's a game which requires real-time control, she'll be leaning left and right in her chair, pulling the controller, trying to get the car to move just a bit farther, a bit faster. Ever seen someone do this? Done it to yourself? This feeling of steering, this tactile, visceral sensation is game feel. Oh. For the purposes of this book, feel is meant in a very specific sense relevant to the experience of playing video games. Feel is not meant in the thematic sense, a Western feel, a Baroquean feel, or in the expressive emotional or physical sense. I feel sad, I feel pain, this place feels creepy. Or in jazz, you gotta follow the feel too. Or like in music when you're collaborating with people or even writing. Or when you're just by yourself, it's all about the feel. But I guess this video game feel specifically is the tactile, kinesthetic sense of manipulating a virtual object. It is the sensation of control in a game. In digital game design, feel is the elephant in the room. Players know it, designers know of it, nobody talks about it, and everybody takes it for granted. It's not hard to understand why. If a game designer's done his or her job correctly, the player will never notice the feel of a game. It will just seem right. In this sense, game feel is an invisible art, like cinematography. Feel is the most overlooked aspect of game creation. A powerful, gripping, tactile sensation that exists somewhere in the space between player and game. It is a kind of virtual sensation, a blending of the visual, oral, and tactile. In short, it is one of the most powerful properties of human-computer interaction. Recently, I had an opportunity to play Space War, the world's first video game, at the Game On exhibit at the Tech Museum in San Jose, California. What struck me is just how compelling the game still is. It's easy to imagine the breathless enthusiasm of the young technicians crowding their PDP-1 supercomputer, exhausting hours of valuable computing time on endless rounds of Steve Russell's creation. Even today, as a product of video game culture, having played hundreds of games, it feels great to me to steer the little rockets, fire off missiles, and avoid black holes. Game feel has been with us since the beginning. It may be easy to bring to mind Sorry, I was just adjusting the mixer. I was trying to hear myself talk because I can't really hear myself, so I'm just like speaking louder. But yeah, it's only like in my left ear, so that's kind of distracting. I'm not gonna do that. Or I can switch it. I know there's a. Wait. Hello? Hello? Yeah, it's only in my left ear for some reason. Oh wait, stereo mono. Okay. It may be easy to bring to mind. Oh, this is weird. I don't like that. There's like a little delay. It may be easy to bring to mind, but game feel is difficult to understand. Games are a nascent and complex medium, one which incorporates many previous forms. A single game might include painting, music, cinematography, writing, and animation. If that weren't enough, video games represent an unprecedented collaboration between creator and consumer. We abdicate authorial control to our players and get something. We're not quite sure what yet, but we know that it has potential. To many, interactivity seems to be the most important medium of the 21st century. It's surprising then that the luminaries of digital game design have devoted little ink to the phenomenon of feel. In Rawlings and Morris, any mention of feel is conspicuously absent. Salen and Zimmerman danced tantalizingly close to discussing feel. What? Salen and Zimmerman danced tantalizingly close to discussing. Danced tantalizingly close. Okay. Salen and Zimmerman danced tantalizingly close to discussing feel. But take a more holistic approach, focusing on game state at the higher intervals where scoring and traditional strategic considerations occur. Chris Crawford's revered work, The Art of Computer Game Design, devotes only a sentence to game feel, saying, "The input structure is the player's tactile contact with the game. People attach deep significance to touch, so touch must be a rewarding experience for them." With due respect to these authors and all the great stuff they have taught us, what's missing is an appreciation of just how unique and beautiful an aesthetic game feel truly is. It exists outside of video games, driving cars, riding bikes, and so on, but nowhere is it so refined, pure, and malleable. In addition, game feel is moment-to-moment interaction. If we examine the functional underpinnings of most video games, there is usually game feel at the most basic level. It has greater importance in certain games, but it's always there. As a percentage of activities in the game, it's what you spend most of your time experiencing. If you break down all the activities of a game, it's the biggest slice of the pie. This book is about examining feel in greater detail. Where does it come from? How is it created? Does it exist in the computer, the player's mind, or somewhere in between? What are the different kinds of feel, and why do we feel the way they do? In a clear, non-technical style intended to be accessible to professionals, players, and aspiring designers alike, we will investigate feel as experienced by players, created by designers, and measured by psychologists. The goal is to create a comprehensive guide to game feel, deconstructing it, classifying it, measuring it, and creating it. By book's end, you will have the tools to measure and create exemplary game feel. Great. Let me take a little. Let's get some music up in here, you know? Where's the music at? 8-minute song. Let's go. 8-minute song. Let's go, baby. Ooh, you can just download straight from here? Can you download albums from SpoTube? Hold on a second. Wait a second. Wait a friggin' dang moment real quick. What the hell's going on? Is this... Could it be? Ooh. Because I just downloaded YouTube playlist downloader right here. I just downloaded it. So I'm like... Local? Where does this go? Downloads? Oh, excuse me. Alright, I'll trust that it's somewhere. Oh! Am I gonna throw up? It's just like watered down coffee. That's all it is. It's like watered down instant coffee. Alright. This book is about, I mean, it tasted great. It was just like indigestion more so. I like drank it too fast, but it tasted great. All right, so this book is about how to make good feeling games. In many ways, it's the book I wanted when I first started designing games. So many creative ideas rely on a foundation of good feeling controls. It should be a given that we can always create controls that feel good. We shouldn't have to start from scratch every time. This book constructs a foundation of understanding and then builds on it, addressing at each step a particular gap in the knowledge base about game design. Figure 1.1 shows the structure of flow of the book's topics. So, what is game feel? Metrics for game feel. How do we measure what game feel is? Principles of game feel. What are the rules? practical examples. How can I study these demonstrations in real time? The future of game feel. Where are we headed in the world of game feel? Gamefeel.com. Oh. When was this book written? 2008? Cool. Yeah, everything's so young. Shit, where am I? To get the most out of reading Game Feel, I recommend going to Gamefeel.com. This actually looks like a nice website, considering this book was written so long ago. All right. The companion website to this book. For many of the chapters, I've provided playable examples that will allow you to experience on this firsthand the ideas being discussed. In addition, the website contains interviews on the subject of game feel with folks like Kelly Santiago and Genova Chen of That Game Company, Kyle Gabler of 2D Boy, and Jonathan Blow and Chaim Gingold of Number None and Maxis, respectively. Isn't this the Sims creator? If you're a student, the definition at the beginning will be interesting and relevant. But the real meat will be the examples. In the examples, you can see all the tiny decisions and particulars of implementation that go into making games feel the way they do. This is the palette of game feel. If you want to make... Hold on. Maybe a different song. No offense. No offense. No offense. But this is not the vibe. Disaster Piece slaps. He's like... They're like all ambience, I think. Or this album's a little different, right? He has like one album that all the tracks are the same fucking length. And I'm like, did this guy just accidentally export all the songs together? And then it just like took the length of the maximum track and just rendered all of the tracks together. And then it's just like empty space for the tracks that are shorter than the longest track. That's the question that I had when I saw that. Yeah, it's this one right here. Stand Still. Alright. Back to business. Talk about feel, baby. Oh, I didn't realize how loud the music was, too. Damn, my bad. I think I only read like a paragraph or so, though, so we're chilling. Okay. This is the palette of game feel. If you want to make good feeling games, these are the details you need to understand. If you're a game designer, the definition stuff will not be news to you, but some of the theory bits may be useful and applicable, if only to better understand the deeper physiological phenomena. The examples will be useful because of the legwork I've already done. You can reverse engineer games yourself, probably, but it takes a lot of time. The principles of game feel may also be a useful way to think about building games. It's one way, at any rate, to which you can compare your own methods, which, by the way, I'd love to hear about. Okay. If you're an educator, the theory and definition pieces form a solid basis for understanding game feel at a conceptual level. In addition, The examples provide a great way to illustrate the complexities of making good-feeling games without forcing students to program the games themselves from scratch. The most useful part, however, will probably be the principles of game feel chapter. Game feel chapter? I love that sentence, or the fucking phrase. Will probably be the principles of game feel chapter. Excuse me? That's how we should all be talking. Which lays out some guidelines for creating good-feeling games. If you're someone interested in the medium of games, such as a journalist, the definitions parts may provide a new perspective on genres. In addition, understanding the physiological thresholds that cause game feel to be sustained or break down may help explain why frame rate drops and other technical disturbances make games feel so much freaking worse. But my hope is that in understanding and being able to measure things like frame rate and response time, you will be able to do a better job of separating medium from message. Yes, a developer is to blame if a game runs poorly, but I think this consideration is given too superlative an emphasis when games are critiqued. The experience of playing a game may still have some things to offer from a critical standpoint, as Jurassic Park Trespasser did, even if they are technically incompetent. What is game feel? One obstacle to understanding game feel at a deeper level is definition. This section offers a simple three-part definition of game feel based on the ways players experience it and game designers design it. Each of the three parts of the definition is expanded to make it useful for classifying games as well as understanding what game feel is. Expanding the definition requires an exploration of some of the ways people perceive things, including measures for frame rate, response time, and other conditions necessary for game feel to occur. These physiological thresholds and concepts of perception combine to form the game feel model for interactivity, a complete picture of the ongoing process of game feel. The section ends by applying the definition to some games, specifically chosen because they are on the fringes of game feel. Metrics for game feel. Another problem facing game designers is meaningful comparison. How does the feel of Halo compare to the feel of Ikaruga? From a designer's perspective, this is tied to tuning. Why is one game floaty while another is tight and responsive? If a player tells me that my game is floaty, what should I do? How should I change the variables of my complex system? Is floaty bad? Good? What does it mean? The section is about measuring the pieces of the game feel process that a designer can change. By measuring each piece, input, response, context, polish, metaphor, and rules, we can make generalizations about what terms like floaty, tight, smooth, responsive, and loose mean, not only in a particular game, but across different games. Once we can measure game feel, we can master. The practical examples. The metrics we developed in section 2 are applied to specific games, providing comprehensive analysis of how the feel of these games function and providing a template for creating games with similar feel. The section will give you clear practical steps for creating a game that feels a particular way. In addition, I have constructed playable and editable examples for each game. Find them right here. Oh yeah. It's my catchphrase. It's one of my catchphrases, so I had to do it. One of my new catchphrases. Okay, what? Okay, where am I? So you can follow along and experience how the feel of each game changes and grows. Principles of game feel. What principles, if followed, will make all games feel better? The section generalizes the lessons of the good feeling examples and measurable pieces of game feel into a set of best practices for game feel. The future of game feel. This section uses the lessons and definitions of the previous chapters to examine the input devices, rendering technology, and thought problems that will define how game feel will be used in the future. With deep, expressive interactivity, can we provide experiences which don't require the backdrop of skill and challenge? Is it possible to express things spatially without competition? Could game feel be a form of deeply personal expression, like dance or martial arts? I need to get like fucking AirPods or some shit, or a strap for my headphones. While I'm streaming, at least. Damn, that was just the intro. All right, great. I love reading the prefaces, the table of contents, the intros. It's just like planting seeds, you know. And then when we get to the chapter, it'll be like, oh yeah, I remember being ready to learn about this. I think that's how we should do it. All right, I think that's how I should do it. More so. Okay. There is no defining game feel. Chapter 1. There is no standard definition of game feel. As players and game designers, we have some beginnings of common language, but we have never collectively defined game feel above what's necessary for discussing a specific game. We can talk about the feel of a game as being floaty, or responsive, or loose, and these descriptions may even have meaning across games, as in, we need to make our game feel more responsive, like Asteroids. But if I ask 10 working game designers what game feel is, as I did in preparation for writing this book, I get 10 different answers. And here's the thing. Each of these answers is correct. Is correct, yes. The plural. Each answer describes a different facet, a different area, which is crucial to game feel. To many designers, game feel is about intuitive controls. A good feeling game is one that lets players do what they want when they want, without having to think too much about it. Good game feel is about making a game easy to learn, but difficult to master. Like Smash Bros, probably. I fucking love Smash Bros Melee. Not as much as I used to, though, but that's the first example I had. I mean, I still love it as much as I used to, but I haven't been growing my appreciation for it more so. Like, I used to when I was, like, an active part of the scene. So now I'm just, like, an appreciator of the depth and the sport and the art of the platform fighter that is Super Smash Bros. Melee. Okay. To many designers, game feel is about intuitive controls. A good feeling game is one that lets players do what they want when they want without having to think too much about it. Good game feel is about making the game easy to learn, but difficult to master. The enjoyment is in the learning, in the perfect balance between player skill and the challenge presented. Feelings of mastery bring their own intrinsic rewards. Another camp focuses on physical interactions with virtual objects. It's all about timing, about making players really feel the impact, about the number of frames each move takes, or about how polished the interactions are. Other designers insist that game feel is all about making the players feel as though they're really there, as though they're in the game. Other efforts go into creating a feel that seems more realistic to players, which somehow increases this sense of immersion, a term that is also loosely defined. Finally, to some designers, game feel is all about appeal. It's all about layering on effect after careful effect, polishing every interaction, no matter how trivial, until interacting with the game has a foundation of aesthetic pleasure. The problem is unity. 6. How do these experiences become a cohesive whole? They all tell us something about game feel, but they do not help us define it. St. Augustine's comment about defining time comes to mind. What then is time? If no one asks me, I know what it is. If I wish to explain it to him who asks, I do not know. Game feel is the same way. Without close examination, we know what it is. Try to define it, and the explanation quickly unravels into the best practices and personal experiences. What? Try to define it, and the explanation quickly unravels into best practices and personal experiences. Okay. This book is about how to make good feeling games. But first, we need to be clear about what game feel is. We need to separate medium from content. We need a definition that enables us to separate the conditions that are necessary for game feel from the judgments that make a game feel a certain way. What is the underlying phenomenon, apart from our own experiences, and the craft's knowledge of building games? What are the building blocks? Just what is game feel? Three building blocks of game feel. Game feel is experienced by players. It is built from 3 parts: real-time control, simulated space, and Polish. Real-time control. Real-time control is a specific form of interactivity. Like all interactivity, it includes at least 2 participants, in this case, the computer and the user, who come closer to form a closed loop, as illustrated in Figure 1.1. The concept couldn't be simpler. The user has some intent, which is expressed to the computer in the form of the user's input. The computer reconciles this input with its own internal model and outputs the results. The user then perceives the changes, thinks about how they compare to the original intent, and formulates a new action, which is expressed to the computer through the input. Interactivity involves exchange of information and action. My ADHD is kicking in. Sorry, guys. In his book, Chris Crawford on Game Design, game designer Chris Crawford likens this process to a conversation, a cyclic process in which 2 active agents alternately and metaphorically listen, think, and speak. Forgot I had a bib on. Man, I'm crazy. Okay. The conversation in Figure 1.2. Sorry for the for the noise. My mic stand's kind of sensitive, and I need to get one of those things that like those sports commentators have, and I can just walk around the whole room and read this book for you. So yeah, if you want to give me some money for that purpose, too bad. All right. The conversation in Figure 1.2 begins when one participant, Bob, speaks. The other participant, Bill, listens to what was said, thinks about it, formulates a response, and speaks in return. Now it's time, Bobby turn to listen, think and speak, and so on. In Crawford's model, a computer replaces one of the participants listening to the player's input via the input device, thinking by processing that input and changing system state, and speaking via the screen and speakers. I don't even understand what I just read right there, so let's take some time right here. So a game designer likens this to a conversation, a cyclic process in which two active agents listen, think, and speak. Interesting. Oh yeah, inputs. Okay. Computing. I'm computing. So thinking by processing that input and changing system state and speaking. Okay, so Bill and Bob listen. Thinky winky. Oh, okay, they're just chilling. However, the metaphor of a conversation between human and computer doesn't fit all situations. Real-time control is not like a conversation. It's more like driving a car. If a player wants to turn left, it's more action than thought. He turns the wheel in the corresponding direction, using what he sees, hears, and feels to make small corrections until the turn is complete. The process is nearly instantaneous. The conversation takes place in minute increments, below the level of consciousness, in an uninterrupted flow of command. The result of input feels as though it is perceived in the same moment it's expressed. This is the basis of game feel. Precise, continuous control over a moving avatar. This is a starting point for our definition of game feel. Real-time control of virtual objects. The problem with this definition is context. Imagine a ball suspended in a field of blank whiteness. How would you be able to tell if it were moving? The stitches, I guess? Red stitches? Without the backdrop of space to move through, there can be no motion. What? The problem with this, imagine I spend a few blank whiteness. I think I'm just trying to be a smartass right now. Okay, so more importantly, there can be no physical interaction between objects. For the sense of interacting physically with the game world, there needs to be some kind of simulated space. Playable example. If you're near a computer, open GameFeel example CH011 to experience the necessity of context. This is a first-person shooter game. Use the WASD keys to move around and the mouse to aim. Can you feel the motion? No? Now press the 1 key. With the simulated space, there is feel. Okay? CH01. Demos? Oh, yeah. Oh, you're gonna give me a... You can give me this? Insecure file? Alright, I'll trust you. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Toggle world visibility. Floor only. Whoa! The sense is so high. I'm just chilling, I think. Feels awful. This feels awful. What am I supposed to do here? with a simulated space. There technically is feel. Yeah, you're so right, bestie. Simulated space. Simulated space refers to the simulated physical interactions in virtual space, perceived actively by the player. This means collision detection and response between a real-time controlled avatar and objects in a game world. It also means level design. The construction and spacing of objects relative to the speed of the avatar's movements. These interactions give meaning to the motion of an avatar by providing objects to move around and between, to bump into, and to use as a frame of reference for the impression of speed. This gives us the tactile physical sense of interacting with virtual environments the same way we interact with our everyday physical spaces, using the avatar as a channel for expression and perception. We experience game worlds at the tactile physical level of the world around us. Playable, move around and feel the sensation of control, and then enable kaleidoscope. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Ooh, this actually, yeah, this is beautiful. Okay, so no collisions. How do I feel right now? I just feel free. I just feel free. Okay. Whoa. Now I feel like I'm in an ice skating rink. Except I'm still slow as fuck. Got it. Feel how different that is? Yep. The other necessary component for simulated space is that it must be actively perceived. Perception happens on a scale of passive to active. The interaction of the objects you see on TV and in films is passively perceived. Exploring a simulated space using real-time control is active perception. Game feel is active perception. The key question is, how does the player interact with the space? Some games have detailed collision/response systems and level design, but the player does not experience them directly. StarCraft is an example of how a game like this, whoa. I've been talking so much, I hear my teeth fucking clanking when I talk. Do your teeth touch when you talk? Usually? Or am I just crazy right now? Yeah, why? Proper jaw posture, okay. I'm like, what the freak? I think I just started doing that, maybe. The key question is, how does the player... Nope, I'm still doing it. That's crazy. Do I do this all the time? How does the player interact with the space? Some games have detailed collision response systems and level design, but the player does not experience them directly. StarCraft is an example of a game like this. As we'll see in a moment, in other games, space is like an abstraction. Damn, are we sure we don't talk with our teeth touching? Why am I doing that? Am I losing? Am I losing control of my mouth? I'm gonna have to end this stream, dude. What the freak? I don't like that. Yeah, I've been worried that I might have TMJ too. My jaw's weird. The bite needs to be adjusted. It's like in my where my molars are. What the fridge? Maloc. Damn, am I a doctor now? Yeah, my teeth are definitely not aligned, I don't think. Man. Alright, I'm gonna have to end this early. What the frick? Yeah, I don't like that. I'm gonna have to reset my attention span. Or just stop talking. Yeah, what the fuck? Okay, I'm going crazy. Dude, why are my teeth touching? Okay. Games with grids, styles, and hexagonal movement use space abstractly. This is not a simulation of space in the literal sense, which is the sense we're after. Game feel, as we're defining it, means active perception of literal space. If we add the concept of context to our definition, it becomes real-time control of virtual objects in simulated space. This definition is close, but with it, we are ignoring the impact of animations, sounds, particles, and camera shake. Without these polish effects, much of the feel of a game is missing. There are objects interacting with only simulated responses, giving clues about whether they're heavy, light, soft, sticky, metallic, rubber, and so on. Polish sells interaction by providing these clues. Yeah, damn. I'm gonna freaking reevaluate my life real quick. What the fuck? All right, peace.